Ach, up, ach, up, ach. Oh, rang, 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 rang. Good morning. My name is Chris Fox, and today we're talking motivation. Do it anyway. And I'll unpack what that means through the course of this video. And it is going to be probably a long video, a little bit rambly, because we are covering 9 months of my life and sort of talking about how it's evolved. So long-term followers of the channel know that when I started out, I was a software engineer. So this is back in 2013. I was riding on the bus on the way to work. So in the mornings, I would ride the number 54 bus into San Francisco. And during my commute, I would squeeze in enough time to crank out my 5,000 words. And that was my big claim to fame every day, was getting those 5,000 words done and slowly getting novels out the door. So back then, it would take me about 6 months to finish a novel, and I was very proud that I could do it that quickly. First one was 4 years, and I really, shaved it down and made the process more streamlined for novel number 2 forward. Life was hard. I had a full-time software engineer job. I was working 60 to 80 hours a week. I was always on call. If something went wrong in the application, I could get an email at 12:30 at night. Those were rare, but stuff like that happened, and it was just being on constantly, 24 hours a day, always trying to solve problems. And because I was the only software engineer at the company for the vast majority of my time there, I had to solve the problems. There was no, hey, I go lean on somebody else at work, or there was another developer to talk to. It was, I have to solve it. And I was terrifying because there were all sorts of technical problems that hadn't been solved at all. I walked away with 2 software patents because I was the very first person in 2 situations to solve an issue that needed to be solved. And both of them involved a lot of stress and my first gray hairs. It was a difficult job. So where am I going with this? Well, I was in constant overwhelm back then. And then in February 2016, I kicked off this channel with the 21-day novel challenge, and my life became simpler. All I had to do was write. There was no longer any day job. I didn't have to code anymore. I didn't have to open Xcode every day and work on iPhone and iPad applications. All I did was write and manage my business. And I had all of my habits set up so well. So I would get 8 hours of sleep every night. I'd wake up at 5 a.m., always at the same time. I would work out for an hour, and I'd go hard at the gym. I'm a power lifter. I like being strong. So I had all of these tools at my disposal. I would meditate every day after lunch. I really had a good setup to help keep me moving. So if you think of it like an engine, I was a well-maintained engine. And I was revving at 4,000 RPMs, right where you want kind of a car to be as it's cruising along. And then the pandemic hit. And, I had before that, 3 months before that, I had a child. So all of a sudden I have a newborn and there's a pandemic. So we're cut off from all of the resources that can help you with a child. So normally you'd have parents come over or family assist you. But because of the pandemic, they can't. So it's basically just Lisa and I. And what we've had to deal with for 9 months now. So this started on December 30th. Longer for Lisa because she couldn't sleep when she was pregnant. But for me, it started on December 30th. We're averaging 4 or 5 hours a night of sleep. I've had 6 hours a couple of times. But I've gotten to a point where my body just expects it to be 4 hours or 5 hours. And so it'll wake me up after that period of time. And this has caused such a massive amount of resistance in me to daily tasks. So the idea of I have to go in and trim my ads and, tweak my CPC on all these various ads and add some new keywords. And I have to write some marketing copy for an upcoming release. And I have to build a release promo schedule. And, I have to record videos and do some editing. And there's all sorts of these tasks that pile up. And because I don't have any sleep, it's hard for me to do them. So before, when I'm in Zen mode and I've been working out and I've got my morning session at the gym, I can come home and just kick the crap out of my day and do all of my tasks and do them well and get them done with time to spare. Even if I'm unfocused, I'm still getting stuff done. Well, all that's gone now. My schedule used to be, I was sitting in this chair by 7 a.m. working, and oftentimes it was before that, so I'd get out here by 6. And just go at it hard. And I could go until 11, and usually the bulk of my work was done. And then from 12 until 4, I do, business-related stuff. And then from 7 until 10, I'd come out again and, clear my email and do some, high-level project planning. Well, now what my day looks like is I don't get out here typically until, 6 a.m. if I'm lucky. Not every morning. Sometimes I have to help with Kaylin. But a lot of times, most of the time, I'm out here by 6 a.m. And I can work until about, 6:45 to 7 a.m. When he wakes up, Lisa will shoot me a text, and I run inside, and we get to have breakfast as a family, which is a high point of my day. I look forward to this. We get to have breakfast together, we hang out for a little bit, and then I come back out and I work from, let's say, like 7:15 to 8:30, and then I come back into the house, and from 8:30 until 9:30, first I'm covering Lisa so that she can go, shower and get ready, and then I'm doing the same myself. And then from 9:30 to 11 is when the bulk of my work is now happening. So I'm doing most of my writing in that window. And the problem I'm running into is I'm exhausted by that point. I'm absolutely exhausted. You can see the dark circles under my eyes. By the time we hit 11 a.m., no amount of caffeine is keeping me moving. I don't have any motivation. I don't want to work. I just want to sleep. I feel like I have nothing left in the tank. Well, I remember back to the John Muir Trail, which was still the hardest thing I had ever done in a single stretch until having a child, where every day my body hurt and I just wanted to quit. And you can't. You're trapped in the mountains. You need to keep walking. Well, it's the same thing I'm finding now with being a parent. I hurt every day. One of the interesting things I found about sleep deprivation is if you don't get enough sleep, your body doesn't heal. So even if I had weights to go with my squat rack, which still have not arrived, I need to cancel that order and order weights somewhere else, another task on my list. But even if I had the weights to go with my squat rack, I'm not getting enough sleep to heal. I can't do a realistic loadout and actually work out and try to pump iron because my body can't handle the recovery because I don't get enough sleep. So, up until now, maybe it sounds like a bad country song and you're looking at all the things that have changed for me since Kaylin arrived. Now we're up to the point of this video. Do it anyway. If you look at my production schedule, I'm going to start putting covers up on the screen. This is the timeline for me this year. I'm just cranking novels out, book after book after book after book after book. And it's accelerating as we get further into the year, and I kind of come to an equilibrium. So in the beginning, it was a book like every 6 weeks, and now we're at a point where it's a book every 4 weeks. And this includes role-playing games, which take a lot more work than a novel. So 2 of those products are role-playing games, the rest of them are novels. And by the end of the year, I should be at 12. So I will have accelerated to a point where even though my son was born, this will be my most productive year ever. I'll have released 12 novels, probably a total of, I want to say, like 700,000 or 800,000 words of fiction, which, for many of my contemporaries is nothing. I see people releasing 2-3 million words a year. But for me, is one of the best years that I've had in my career, I think, or possibly the best, especially on top of all the other stuff that I'm doing. So what's the secret? It's at the it's at the micro level. The micro level. It's day to day. It goes back to the trajectory video that I recorded recently. I have to look at what I'm doing every single day, and I have to run triage and say, okay, I'm at this level of exhaustion. I have all these things that need to get done. What do I tend to first? What is the most critical thing that I can take care of? And I match it up to my energy level and I get it done. So there are some days where I can't write, which is never good. Those, I can't have those 0 days. But what I'll do instead is maybe I'll edit, or I'll do project planning, or I'll do a bunch of marketing, or I'll work on advertising and use, the more analytic side of my brain while the creative side sort of recharges. I force myself to do it anyway. Like, I want to sit down and I want to relax and I want to, watch TV or sleep, like, go into the house and take a nap, but I can't. And for you to keep yourself moving, for you to just get it done anyway, the only thing, in my opinion, that makes that possible and is going to make it achievable so that we can hit these crazy goals, the reason I'm doing this is worth it. The reason, the why, is what keeps me moving forward. And in my case, right now, that's Kaylin. I'm kicking my own butt every single day to get words down, to get books written, to finish pipelines, to fix marketing copy, to try new experiments. I'm doing all of that stuff because of Kaylin, my son. I want him to have the life that I didn't have, and I want to be able to provide for him the things that I didn't have available, and the stability that I had wished I had growing up. And that takes a lot of effort. So on the days when I'm super crazy tired and I don't want to do this, I think about that little boy and his smile, and what I have to do becomes easier. I can pick up that burden and keep moving forward. So it really is about finding our why. You can't just get it done unless you have a why. Because every time I'm like, oh man, I would so much rather like relax, or maybe even like fire up a video game or read a book or something, or do something that is like not directly tending to my survival or my business. Every time, I draw myself back in and take care of the things that I have to take care of. And I don't want to leave you with the impression that I don't ever have any time for myself and I don't, get to do anything fun. One of the upsides of being a parent is I'm stuck with, Kalen sleeping on me a lot of the time, or monitoring him, waiting for him to wake up. And so I get plenty of time to watch TV and stuff. So more than I had before, because the hours that I was sleeping are now spent binging TV. So there are upsides, and that's another part of my strategy. I look at some of the perks, like there are silver linings, find them. If you're having a really rough time, find them. Also, I know this isn't going to be forever. Eventually he will sleep better. Eventually I will get back to a point where I'm getting rest and can work out again and can find my schedule and find my center and be able to do things as they were before. I've just got to make it through. So if I keep plodding along and keep putting one foot in front of the other, I will make it through this. I will get through this valley and, up to the next peak and over the pass and over into the promised land that I'm trying to reach. I know that. And so I keep pushing myself forward. I've disappointed myself a lot in the past. I've given up so many times. And I know where that route leads. You're always disappointed in yourself down the road if you gave up in some area that you shouldn't have. So I'm not. And the last thing that I'm doing, and I know this has been an incredibly rambly video, we're at 12 minutes now and I'm still talking. What was it, Chris? What was this last thing that you wanted to address? Triage. And this is something I think I've talked in a couple of videos recently. I've really trimmed things out of my life that are not serving me. So as an example, I was very active on social media for a long time, and Facebook especially was somewhere that I spent a lot of time in a lot of very small private communities. Well, back in November, just before my son was born, I went through there with a slash and burn. I took a machete and I just, cut through all these Facebook groups, many of which I'd been in for like 5 years. And some of them I said goodbye, some of them I just ghosted, but I trimmed all that stuff out of my life. So I'm barely on social media right now, and it's not affecting my sales at all. I found, as long as I tend to my Facebook group and my fans, I'm fine. But all the author groups I was a part of, I've sort of let go because I just don't have time. I don't have the time or the bandwidth or the mental energy to deal with that stuff right now. And maybe someday I'll be able to come back once Kaylin is sleeping and my lifestyle changes again and I can find that room to be at the gym and listen to podcasts and think about my day. But right now I can't. And so I've accepted that my life is not what I want it to be, but I'm going to get the stuff done that I need to get done anyway. I'm going to get the books published I need to get published, get the words down, get the marketing taken care of. I'm going to do all the things I have to do because I want to be able to look at myself in the mirror every day. And in 10 years, I want to be able to present the kind of life to Kalen that I've always wanted him to be able to have. Like if I had a son, I want to be able to provide for him the things that I feel he should have. And I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make it happen. I'm just gonna get it done and do it anyway. Do it anyway. Because it doesn't matter how hard it is, I'm gonna find a way. I'm exhausted, I am 9 months into this, and I have very little sleep, but I'm still getting it done. Anyway, guys, hopefully this is useful. I have no idea. It's probably very long and very rambling. I do need to get back to the writing. Quick update before I let you go. Role-playing game is doing pretty well. I am making a decent chunk of money from it, and it's become its own revenue stream. The print version is not yet live yet, and printing adventures for the role-playing game have been really amusing, but we're almost through that tunnel. And so in a couple more months, it should be making quite a lot more money than it is now. And at the same time, still putting the novels out. So anyway, I'm going to get back to the writing, and I will see you next week.